Oh, PJ made it.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, good evening and welcome to the July 12th, 2023 Orange Board of Selectmen's meeting. For those of you in the audience, on my right, your left is the emergency exit up the rear stairway out into the parking lot where I think everybody used. In the event that you couldn't use that stairway, you can go straight down the hallway out the back. We'll lead you to out the stairs to the firehouse, or you can go up the stairs behind the wall with the clock on it there, through the double doors and out the front. We'll put you out in front of the town hall. So with that said, Mr. Shanley, are you all set?
Yes.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. We'll start on my left down there with introductions.
Good
tonight,
evening, Mitch
please.
Goldblatt.
Good evening, John Carangelo.
Ann Denny, Secretary to the Board.
Judy Williams, good evening.
Good evening, PJ Shanley.
Okay, very good. Public participation. Public participation is for any item that is not an agenda item. We allow 2 minutes per speaker for that. Is there anybody for public participation?
Tom Paisano, 523 Fairway Road, Orange, Connecticut. I had a lot of questions coming to me about a petition that we had out in the public, and it is complete. We have more than enough signatures. But I put a call into our town attorney to try to look at a couple of options, and we need to discuss it further. But one of the options would be to have the town actually make this vote at the general election rather than causing the town to have a costly referendum. So that issue I'll deal with Vin Marino. He's not here to answer that question. And that was about it. The second question we haven't resolved is the public participation and the length of 2 minutes and why my wife, Peggy Paisano, wasn't allowed to talk. So we'll solve that with Vinny also. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay, is there anybody else for public participation? Seeing none, at the table? Yeah, announcements, yeah.
I don't typically endorse businesses. We have a new business in town. For those of you who return your bottles for redemption, that 5 cents, which is, by the way, is going to be at 10 cents come January 1st. So just so you know, you'll be paying more when you get your bottles and cans. There's a new business called Easy Bottle Return. It is behind Ronay's and the FedEx over on the Boston Post Road, so you got to go around the back. But it is quick, easy, and simple. As long as you separate the bottles from the cans and from the plastic from the aluminum and from the glass. The glass has to be in a cardboard box. Everything else can just be in bags or just dumped, and they dump it on a conveyor, and it takes absolutely minutes to put hundreds of bottles through. They pay you in cash. You're out in about 10 minutes, and none of this one at a time. So very excited over that. And they do pay the full 5 cents, which will soon go to 10 cents. So just want to bring that up to date, and it's a good business to have in town and a great way to recycle. Thank you.
Yeah, it went where Planet Fitness is, I think, right? Down in the back. Well, they were above and below.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. That took quite a while to get them in there and up to speed on that. There was landlord things and some stuff, but it worked out, and it's going well. Anybody else on announcements? Seeing none, I just have a very short list tonight. The first one is the 4th of July concert that wasn't. We set dates. We've been working on it all week, and so it was set that it will be Saturday, September 2nd, will be the night for fireworks and concert. The rain date is going to be Monday, September 4th, which is actually Labor Day. In the event that we lose this, we might have a first night and pray that we don't have a blizzard. This seems to be the way the luck is going. The Fridays and Saturdays were good and the Sundays weren't, so when we were talking about it, I said, I don't want a Sunday. I said, it's got to be a Friday or Saturday, so we ended up with this. The farmers markets have started up at the High Plains. They're every Thursday from 3:30 to 7 under the pavilion. The Orange Volunteer Firemen's Carnival, Thursday, August 3rd, from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Friday, August 4th, 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Saturday, August 5th, 3 p.m. to 11 p.m., and that is the night of their fireworks. Sunday, August 6th, is from 12 noon to 5 p.m. I think, Mitch, that's when you close it out with the raffle right then, isn't it usually?
Raffles at 4:30.
Okay.
Yep. Just then, by the time we're done, it's about 5 o'clock.
Yeah, there you go. Raffle tickets are available for purchase at the town hall and various businesses within the town. But the biggest part that people forget, do not forget to order your wristbands via the OVFD website. They are not sold at the carnival. For more information on the wristbands for your children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, friends, kids, whoever you're going to take to the carnival, www.orangevfd.org. Don't forget, www.orangevfd.org for your wristbands for the kids. It is quite a savings, but they do not sell them at the carnival, and we have tons of people come up to the booth looking, they want to buy them, and you can't buy it at the carnival. Thank you. Minutes. To consider and act on the minutes of the June 14th, 2023 public hearing for the neighborhood assistance and the regular meeting of the Orange Board of Selectmen. Were there any errors, omissions, or corrections? If so, state page and paragraph.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, and no other discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item number 1, to consider and act on request of the Fred Wolf Park Ad Hoc Committee to hire BL companies to do the traffic and safety study at Fred Wolf Park. Selectmen Carangelo and Shanley, this is your item, and B&L is in the audience as well.
Good evening, everybody. I'm speaking on behalf of the Fred Wolf Park Ad Hoc Committee that was formed to entertain bids for the traffic and safety study for Fred Wolf Park. As you know, the committee has been together for some time now. We used the list from CCM that was provided to us. We contacted almost all of the individuals, companies on that list. We received 3 that came back. 1 decided that they didn't want to go forward with their quote to us. We were left 2. The committee voted unanimously to accept the bid/quote from the BL companies. They're out of Meriden. We felt that their bid, and again, I want to be clear, it wasn't a bid, it was a quote. This was not a bidding process. This was just merely a quote that was asked of these companies to provide to us. And based upon that quote, we chose.
It was a proposal.
Well, it was a proposal, but it was not a bid.
No, it was proposals.
Having said that, we found BL Company to be very efficient. They came to several of our meetings. They met us at Fred Wolf Park. Very excited to work with them. They've initially presented us with a quote that we felt that was high. So we, as a board, decided to write to all the vendors to ask them to have some clarity on the quotes that were presented. BL came back and did reduce their amount for the traffic and safety study. All of those items are before this board for your review. The references that they've provided, I mean, I can't even tell you. They every single one of these references spoke very highly of B&L Company. So based upon that, what we're asking this board is for approval for the revised quote, which is $20,000. Now, there are additional items that they may want to use to help their approach to the safety and traffic study. So it's an additional $9,000 for what I would consider à la carte items. But my thought process, if this board would entertain it, would be to authorize the expenditure of $20,000, but allow our first selectman, if necessary, to exceed that up to $29,000. Again, if this board were willing to entertain this. So having said that, I'm going to defer to PJ if you have any further comments on this. But this was a unanimous vote by our committee.
No, John, thank you. I thought you did an excellent job summarizing everything. I was just going to add, there seemed to be an eagerness on their behalf, too. They were quick to respond to everything that you sent out. It was almost immediate responses. They seemed like they really wanted it. So I think it would be a good partnership for the town.
And now I'll ask, I'm not sure if one or both of you wants to introduce yourselves, since you're the ones being proposed here. If you would, one or both of you come up and just tell a little bit about your company and, you know.
Good evening. I'm Derek Cole. I'm the executive director for BL Companies. We are a multidisciplinary Connecticut-based and founded firm. We're also employee-owned. And we have a vast amount of experience working throughout the state of Connecticut with a wide range of municipalities and also the state, whether it's the Department of Transportation, Department of Construction Services, University of Connecticut, legislative management, and so forth. We've been in business for over 40 years. We take great pride in establishing long-term partnerships with our municipal clients. We're very excited not only about this project within Fred Wolf Park, but also to potentially embark on a long-term relationship with the town and be there to support in a variety of needs. Again, we're multidisciplinary, so we have architects, engineers, and we run the full gamut from traffic and transportation engineers, very relevant to safety studies and pedestrian and mobility, but also landscape architects, planners, mechanical, electrical, plumbing engineers, and so forth. And, you know, again, we've worked on a wide range of projects from roads, bridges, and so forth, but, you know, applicable here, a number of planning, design, and construction-related projects for park and recreation improvements. So I think it's a great fit for our firm. We are very excited about this. Great park, great facility, lots of potential, and I think we can draw upon our vast experience and expertise to work with the committee and the town in seeing this project through. So I'm joined here. Dominic doesn't need to necessarily add to that, but Dominic Seltruda, licensed landscape architect and our project manager, and has been involved from the initial stages of outreach, and will be working with the town on the project throughout, as well as some of our other staff, traffic and related.
Okay, questions from the board? Mitchell?
Derek and Dominic, thank you for being here tonight. I think we appreciate it, and you come highly recommended from other towns as well as our committee here, so we're excited to have you on board. Can you explain one thing for me and then one thing for the public, I think? The thing for me is, in your quote, you put down public engagement hourly estimated $2,500. What does that mean as far as it's estimated and hourly? So how does that work if there's a public meeting that goes on 2 hours or 4 hours or has to go a second day? How is that what that's envisioning?
Yeah, so the fee basis is hourly estimated, so we have included, and Dominic can tell me the specifics of how many meetings, but we estimate the amount of hours and time and effort there, and we really try to provide that flexibility to work with the town on outreach. Outreach is very important, and we can do as much or as little or a balanced approach as necessary. We typically don't kind of like nickel and dime over an hour. It's more about if we had planned to do two series of outreach meetings with the public or stakeholder groups, and then it goes to 4 or 5.
Okay.
We just want to, kind of be appropriately compensated. But, we're not in it for like an hour here or there.
That's fine.
If the
Thank-
meeting goes
thank-
a little longer, that's fine. We're here, short distance from our office, so
Good.
glad to be here when necessary.
Well, thank you for the explanation. I appreciate it. And the other question, unless Dominic has anything to add to that, the other question I had was mostly for the public as well as us, but can you explain in a nutshell for the 20,000 or up to 29,000, what will the town, the public receive, the committee receive from you at the end of the day? What will be the finished product from you, so we know where in this process we're at? And the people, it's been, as I'm sure you're aware, very talked about subjects around town, so I think a lot of people would like to know, what are we going to get for this, and just explain what the
Right,
project is.
Right. I'll start with the end deliverable and then back into some of the steps that lead up to that. But our end deliverable that we envision, that we've kind of provided the quote based upon, is a summary report and recommendations. So we're going to look at a couple of alternatives, maybe 2 or 3, in terms of various safety, traffic, or other, kind of measures to provide appropriate, I'll say calming. Access, circulation are other factors we look at. Typically, we might have some figures in there as well, kind of showing some proposed conceptual improvements, what we looked at, kind of give you a summary of the pros and maybe some of the disadvantages of these measures. Some of them may be very effective, some of them may be limited effectiveness, and then there's certainly cost ramifications with various improvements and so forth. I'd also envision that we take a look at maybe things that can be done short term as well as longer term. There are some things that we've been thinking about that we may be able to partner with the town and their town public works forces to, kind of try on a temporary basis, put in place and see how that works before you go and spend larger amounts of money and construct curbs or whatever it may be. But kind of backing that up, we'll go out and do a further kind of site analysis and inventory, particularly focused on the entrance of the park by the playscape and so forth. We've recommended kind of getting some updated aerial imagery of the recently completed improvements using our UAV or drone to capture update information. That's really a great tool to convey what's being proposed to the public. As much as we do traffic analysis and other things, to be able to show a picture sometimes says 1,000 words, so we think it's a very valuable tool and why we've recommended it for the public outreach in particular. So after we do our site visit and analysis, we kind of go back, start looking at various concepts, 2 or 3. How can we address safety, access, circulation within the park, kind of do an analysis of those, again, listing some of the pros and cons. Maybe we're doing a little bit of budgetary cost estimate associated with that as well. And then we also have our traffic engineers look at some of the traffic data and information. The police have conducted some kind of traffic counts. We did not have, I'll say, detailed access to that in the quote stage to really take their raw files and see what we can extract out of that. So one of the additional services, I think it was about $2,000 that we recommended we could go out and do additional traffic counts over a 7-day period to get everything we need. So we may be able to get that from the police. We just haven't had that level of detailed conversation and so forth. So the traffic and safety analysis is a part of that as well, and certainly working with our landscape architects and planners, kind of looking at, again, traffic, pedestrian safety, circulation, but also kind of having a little bit of a vision towards the broader park as well. We want to keep that in mind. So we're not just zeroed in on the entrance and by the playscape. We want to think longer term as well and factor that in so that we don't make, kind of improvements that might benefit, the upfront park, but maybe not so much for, kind of some of the ball field areas into the rear and so forth. So, that's just our early assessment.
That's great. Can I follow up with, so your deliverable then would include circulation throughout the park, which not developed yet, kind of proposed conceptually what would circulation would look like in the long term, not just what we have there now?
Yeah, we'll be looking at the circulation throughout the park and preliminary high level of that and keeping an eye on that. So as we're looking at something up front, I'll say in the entrance, it kind of blends in and meshes with what else is going on in the park in terms of access and circulation.
And then the last question is, will you also be showing or proposing different activities throughout the rest of the park, or do you leave that just blank, just to show the circulation? Or would you show this kind of, I don't want to even throw it out there, but this kind of field will go here, that kind of field will go there?
No,
or-
that's not included through the committee. They really wanted us focused on this first effort on the kind of safety
Gotcha.
and so forth. But I'll say we'll kind of have that in the back of our mind.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Judy.
Go ahead, Dominic.
I'll add that
Dominic?
last question in
Okay.
terms of that. When we look at the circulation, we'll leave those areas voided out, but we know there's going to be other activities. I mean, we have the master plan that was prepared earlier. We know where you're going. We know that's a roadmap and can change. But if you put the infrastructure in place for circulation, it'll give you use zones regardless of
Great.
whether or not we plan for them or not.
Thank you, Dominic.
Because then it gives you your blank spaces to work with.
Okay.
So there's quite a bit there.
Well,
Oh, there's Judy, did you have a
yes,
question?
I did.
Oh,
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you both for coming. Really appreciate it, and thank you for all the information. That was very informative. So my question is, it is on, but it's over there, Chris.
she's on the wrong side.
Take it with you.
I'm sorry. So anyway, so just thinking about this and putting the plan, how much time are we looking at as far as a presentation? I know there's a lot of fact gathering, and if you're going to do some individual meetings with the neighbors or whatnot and have some conversation, I'm not sure which way, but when can we roughly expect a proposal to come forward and we can look at it?
Right. So our work is fairly discrete. $20,000 worth of work is probably in the range of about 4 to 6 weeks cumulative work for us. The schedule is actually going to be really dictated by the process to engage with the committee and outreach with the public. Typically, we see these at a minimum, and this is a fairly aggressive, is probably more in the 2 to 3 month range to allow opportunity to present some initial findings, maybe a draft of the report, provide a week or two of public comment or comment from, the Board of Selectmen, the committee, whoever, is going to be engaging in the project. So we're very flexible to kind of tailor the schedule based upon, and we haven't had those detailed discussions with the committee yet in terms of framing out, kind of how many stakeholder meetings and when and what that process looks like. But, very aggressive, I'd probably say 2 to 3 months. I wouldn't anticipate for this size project going beyond 5 or 6 months. I think, you can definitely do it within that time frame.
Okay,
I'll
great.
just chime in on a couple of other aspects you have to consider. We're designing for the recreational aspects, and we need some of that data collection analysis could lag a little bit because we're going to want prime opportunity, especially if we're doing traffic counts. We're going to want to understand the main users, which we already kind of do, but we have to hammer that home with your stakeholders, and we're going to have to stage that such that we're getting good data on active use of the park itself. And then obviously the public input, we're going into July, August. We know the calendar is a little bit against us in that when we have those information or engagement sessions, we like to have them when people are around. And most of New England, for some reason, isn't like Cape Cod in August. I don't know when it always happens. I don't, but we know that if we want to make sure that the underserved or the underrepresented in the town have a chance to chime in, so we want to make sure that when we offer that up, we give them a time to react to whatever findings that we have.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, Dominic brings up an excellent point. Probably in the fall sports season is a great time to get out and do some of that data collection and really start. We can start with some early tasks, but probably starting in that September timeframe-ish. But certainly willing to work with you whenever you're ready to go. We're here. Good time for us. We've completed some other municipal projects, and as some of the members have noted, we're ready to start and eager to.
Good. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So you have, did anybody motion this one yet?
Nope.
Not yet? Well, then is there a motion to accept the, Mr. Corangelo's recommendation on this?
I would, just before we do that, I do want to ask the committee, are we adding on the 9,000 additional?
So in my opinion, Judy, because there's a quote that's been presented to us that reflects $20,000, they also put in here 9,000 additional things. And instead of coming back potentially to vote on it, my thought process would be to allow our first selectman to up to $29,000 if we need it. We may not think we need it, right? But allow him the ability to say yay or nay and to go for it.
What I would do with that is do the 20,
Okay.
and the first selectman or the finance director, who's also sitting here in the room, would have the ability at the recommendation of the committee, or at the request of the committee, then consider the additional 9,000. I don't think it should be just mine and John's decision. If the committee decides that they want to do that, then, and explain why it is for this additional money, then John and I could consider that. That's how I would do it, word it. All right?
All right.
So with that made as a motion like that, that's a motion I'll take, and is there a second to that?
Second.
Judy, thanks for the motion.
Thank you. Did you know I was a ventriloquist?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Unanimous.
All
Very
right.
good.
Thank you, gentlemen.
To consider an act on request to conduct block party in the Great Oak neighborhood. This is the one, yeah. Jody Deach had requested this one? Yeah. Doesn't say it on mine, but that's what I thought.
So moved.
Yep, not a problem. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Unanimous. Consider an act on
Nice to
request
meet
for
you.
block party
Thank you.
Muirfield neighborhood, same situation.
Second.
There you go. Is that a run? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Tom's chasing those two guys out. They better run.
Item number 4 is to consider and act on request to extend the wooden brush disposal contract with Grillo Green Cycle. I don't have a problem with that. They did tell me, just so you know, did they get this, or is this just in mine?
No, I just made one copy.
All right, just so you know, Grillo has done an outstanding job. In fiscal year '21, we had a different vendor, and we also had a big storm, but we spent $155,000, and it would take weeks to get them to dispose of all the material down there. Grillo came in, did fiscal year '22, and they ground in September and May with a total of 1,728 tons, and they were out within a week, less than a week, 3 days, and it was 91,741. And this year, fiscal year '23, they ground in October, and they just ground a couple weeks ago, and it was 1,226 tons, and it was 51,000. So we're actually saving money and efficiency with hiring a company that really has clean and good operating equipment. And we've had no problems with them, none. They're in, they're out, they do a great job. You know, I've been invited down a couple times to see their operation down there in Milford, but I never take up on it. We did have a challenge. Rick Cap bought clay from them for the ball fields, and then it didn't work out to be what we had seen, what he had seen, I guess. I never saw it initially, and we did have a problem, and they made good even on that, and we had to remove all that clay. It had stones and other material in it, and we got some new clean material from them. I mean, they were very good to work with. So, you know, they were a good operation. So I do have no trouble extending that contract.
Jim, any, just one quick question.
Yeah.
Any idea where we're at as far as $66 per ton? Do you know what the current price is? Do we know what the current price is? I don't think it said, did it?
I don't think she put that.
Just curious how much it went up or stayed the same, went down?
66 was the last 2 years.
Oh, it was last
Yeah,
year.
and they left the price the same. The price is staying the same.
Okay, great.
Yeah, the
Thank you.
price per ton is staying the same. Yeah, oh, okay, I thought you meant from the previous or something. Yeah, no, the price is staying the same per ton also. I mean,
Okay.
they went, I mean, you're down the transfer station, you see that pile of logs that was down and back straight ahead when you go in? They ground that up like nothing. I mean, their machinery just eats that stuff up. So,
Motion to approve?
Second.
okay, motion's made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Unanimous. To consider an act on the tax refunds totaling $1,965. Yeah, that's a non-issue. All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? I will tell you on that one, it's kind of a sidebar to it. But in a week, with the credit card access and stuff, in the week the bills got out early and efficiently, in 1 week before, it was would have been the 3rd week of June, not the 4th week. In 1 week, they collected over $500,000 was the figure I was given. John says more than that, on charge cards.
Art told me today, before July 1st, we collected $5 million. Wow.
Yeah, but the charge card thing was just flying through. The people really, even though there's that percentage charge on it from that third party, people are using it, so. So anyhow, so just, that was just I mean, the bills were out early and efficiently, and the people are coming in, yeah. I mean, and he used a different color. If you noticed, you had that pink envelope this year, and so they could tell when they were coming in. And the post office had a lot of them banded in groups, and still had to go through them. There was some other stuff in some of them. But it worked out very, very well. He's doing an unbelievable job with that office, with the efficiencies there. So, committee, pension board,
No report this month.
okay. And Fred Wolf Park ad hoc, I don't know if that was,
We have a meeting set now for the 18th at 5:30.
okay. And while you're at that point, if you've been down there, the sidewalk and the additional curbing to get it to the parking lot were put in last week. The sidewalk's all in all the way around it. And Orange Fence will be putting the fence in, which was bid with the other fence, but it's just taking a while to get to that point.
When is that going in?
Next week, Roy was met there with me today.
Okay.
We mapped it all out, marked it out, and that fence will be going in next week. So they've really, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel a little bit on it.
We have a date for that light?
Yeah.
That's actually the committee. I mean, I'm hoping, I don't know. I would love to say the end of July, but I can't promise that yet. It will be used,
Summertime, people want to get on the playground.
let me tell you,
Oh, I
there's so many people are asking and talking and getting there, and people see me out here in the parking lot and come and they ask, when's the new one opening? We went down and looked and whatnot. I said, we're almost there. He emailed the contractor that, built it and told him we're ready for the rubber soft surfaces and other things that have to be done. There's still one piece that hasn't arrived. It's supposed to be here by August, but keep our fingers crossed. Okay.
Jim, before we go executive session.
Yes.
You mentioned about the tax collection. I know Tom, our tax collector, was not thrilled with some of our actions on the waiving of certain
Yep.
things, but he did provide us a report, and I just want
Yes.
to acknowledge that we received the report, and I appreciate the information that was provided.
He's really doing a very thorough job. Yes, he is.
Good,
Thank you.
very good.
Okay, with that, we have one item on executive session, is to an agreement between the Town of Orange and the Communication Workers of America, AFL-CIO, which is our 6 or 7 dispatch people that dispatch for the police, fire, ambulance, emergency calls. They're an invaluable group, and we settled their contract. I was annoyed because it dragged a year beyond when it expired, and let them know that I don't expect that to happen again. So, and I'd also like to invite Finance Director Cifarelli into that meeting. So is that a motion to be made?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll be in executive session at, it looks like it's 7:30 something. All right, Chris?
we're back. Thank you so much.
Okay, good evening. We're back in from executive session. We were in executive session discussing a settled contract with the Communication Workers of America, AFL-CIO, which is the emergency dispatchers that operate at the police department, which dispatch all police, fire, emergency, ambulance, 911 calls, all of that. Their contract was a year in arrears, so we've settled a 3-year contract, but they're in year 2 of the 3-year contract. The finance director was also in on that executive session meeting. So with that said, is there a motion to be made on this contract?
So moved. Second.
Motion is made and seconded to present the contract, accept the contract as presented.
July 1, 2022 to June 30th, 2025.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Unanimous. I want to say 2 things before we adjourn. The first one being, and you'll hear it multiple times, but the 4th of July concert was moved since it did not happen around the 4th. Saturday, September 2nd will be the concert and fireworks at the fairgrounds with a rain date of Monday, September 4th. That will be the fireworks and concert. And then the second item is do not forget to register online for your children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, and friends' children. For the wristbands are not sold on the carnival grounds while the carnival is going on. www.orangevfd.org. Those are 2 very important messages I wanted to go, and with that, a motion to adjourn at 8:03.
So moved.
Okay.